The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Hello and welcome to Fearless Fabulous You. I am your host, Melanie Young, and we're going to take you on a fearless, fabulous travel adventure today because that's my passion. Somebody once asked me, I was with some friends in the wine business, and we were all talking about their passion, and they were like, my passion is wine, one journalist said. And they said, yeah, my passion is wine. And they asked me, they said, is your passion wine? I said, my passion is travel, which includes wine and eating and exploring. But the name of my company, which is The Connected Table, you can follow at The Connected Table or Melanie Fabulous. My company is called The Connected Table, and its tagline is Eat, Drink, Explore, and Inspire. And that's what I also like to do here on Fearless Fabulous You, which is about living life on your terms and stepping outside of your comfort zone to do things to make you feel good about yourself and about being in the world today. We can all use that. So we're going to take you to a beautiful place that I recently visited with my husband, David, in the heart of Texas. Believe it or not, it's a place that's been on my U.S. travel bucket list for a while, but I'd never been. So I jumped at the chance to go on a press trip, and I'm going to share it with you because I think it's awesome. It's Fredericksburg, Texas. So the picture behind me is one of the places that we visited called Wild Seed Farms. It's one of the largest or the largest wildflower farm in the United States. It's also a winery and a beautiful compound where you can taste wines and buy flowers, and even buy flowers that are going to grow well where you live. So like I live in New Orleans, I can pick a packet that's in the southeast area of wildflower seeds to grow. It's totally cool. So we're going to take you on a quick trip to Fredericksburg and talk about why you may want to put it on your list. Here's a couple of things. It's a Texas getaway, so you're in big state of Texas that delivers top dining, wine tastings, chic shopping, cultural and historic charm, and many other delights, including some natural beauty like you see behind me and hiking. It's kind of like the perfect package. Texas is a big state. This is a very easy town to get to, Fredericksburg. It's about a 90-minute drive from San Antonio. That's the airport you want to go to. You do want to rent a car. Now, why Fredericksburg? Well, it's an authentic Texas German community. So it's a really interesting town because it was settled by Germans who got a special land grant to escape hardship in Europe and immigrate over to the United States. Actually, great history about this settlement, which you can learn at the Visit Fredericksburg, Texas Welcome Center, which I highly recommend in town. Many of the people I met are like fourth and fifth generation Texas German Americans. So they're very proud of their heritage. And you'll see throughout the town German touches here and there and whatnot. It's really a lovely place. It was established in 1846, as I said, initially as a settlement for Germans who were escaping poverty and hardship in Europe. It grew. And it grew, and now it is a year-round destination that I think is really great for solo travelers, couples, gal pal getaways, and it's also a very popular wedding destination, and there are a lot of hotels and event facilities that cater to weddings and other types of groups. We visited in May, but it is a year-round destination. For example, in the spring, around April, you'll see, you think those are pretty wildflowers? Go in the spring. You're going to see Texas's famous bluebonnets, which are incredible. It's one of my dreams is to see Texas and hill country during bluebonnet season. You're going to see fields of wildflowers in the spring. In the summer, you can sink your teeth into some really juicy Texas peaches. We were just there right before the harvest, so I didn't get to taste a fresh Texas peach, sadly. It's June now, so you can. but I did have some pretty awesome peach jam and salsa and peach butter and peach ice cream and even some peach wine. Wild berries, wonderful vegetables. It really is a wonderful agricultural center. In the fall, it's time for Oktoberfest. Again, Fredericksburg embraces its German roots, and I hear it's one of the best Oktoberfests in the country. And then winter, I hear, has an amazing Christmas holiday season that lights up, and everyone says it's a great place to go. In fact, I've actually put it on my New Year's bucket list to celebrate my birthday one year. And of course, Fredericksburg is located in hill country, so you've got this beautiful vistas with hills as well as the plains, and it's the heart of wine country. Texas is a very large wine producing state. I think it's ranked number 4 now after California, or 5, California, Oregon, New York, and it's either Texas or Washington. But hill country actually is an AVA, American Viticultural Agricultural Area, and it is the largest or one of the largest in the United States. So you also get to taste some pretty awesome Texas wines. There's distilleries, there's breweries, a lot of good music, really an awesome place to visit. And it's walkable. So the walkable Main Street is just filled with galleries and shops, just overload of cuteness, lots of eateries, lots of wine tasting rooms. And then further out, you can go visit beautiful, the Lyndon Johnson State Park, which is his birthplace. You see his old schoolhouse and some other incredible parks from areas for walking and hiking. So we talked about how to get to Fredericksburg. Okay, it's about 90 minutes north of San Antonio. You will want to rent a car because you will want to explore. There are tours that can take you around to the wineries so you don't have to drink and drive, and I do not encourage anyone tasting wine and driving. So take advantage of the wine tours. If you go to the Visit Fredericksburg tourist office in the heart of town, you can find tons of brochures on exploring the wineries and distilleries. Excuse me. So let's talk about where to stay. And then I'm going to show you a little video. I think we have a video. I'll ask my engineer one. So Fredericksburg has so many accommodations, from small inns to luxury retreats to some of the big name chains you've heard of, something for every budget. If you want to stay in town, which I think is really convenient, I highly recommend the Albert Hotel. It's in the center of town. It's a beautiful hotel, great bar, nice restaurant called the Well House where we ate. David had one of the most gorgeous porterhouse steaks. I don't eat meat, but it was a gorgeous steak. And I had a wonderful piece of fish. It's solid. You're going to get generous portions. It's Texas. They don't do anything small here. And bonus, the Albert has a swimming pool. And if you're there in the Texas heat, you're going to want that swimming pool. It's gorgeous. Step right outside, and there's a cute coffee bar next door, a wonderful bar with live music we stopped in, and then you're right there in the shopping center area, which is just cute. Art galleries and clothing shops. Of course, lots of places selling cowboy boots and leather. Bring an empty credit card ready to put stuff on it. It was hard for me because I like to spend. Another option, though, if you want something a little more pampering, is to stay at a spa retreat, which is Hill Country Herb Garden. It's also close to town, a little bit like a 15-minute walk, maybe 10. Now, what I like about this place is it's in the most beautiful landscaped gardens imaginable. It is a popular wedding destination spot, and it is lush landscape. It's home to 154 unique botanical species, of which 60 are native to Texas. And there's an herb garden that supplies the on-site restaurant by the same name, Hill Country Herb Garden. It's a terrific restaurant. I had a great green drink and it wasn't even a simple salad. It was an awesome salad with fresh tuna, seared tuna on top. Really great. We were there for lunch. We toured the gardens. There's a luxury spa facility if you want to be pampered and get a massage, and a cute, adorable gift shop on site called Marigolds to buy gifts to take home. A lot of locally made items. I tried hard not to spend money. It was tempting. There was so much I wanted to buy, but I had a carry-on bag, and the rule was we're only bringing home a carry-on bag. So what's cute about the Hill Country Herb Garden are the accommodations are actually 14 individual guest houses. They're so cute. They're like tiny houses on the property. I'll be sharing a link on the connectedtable.com blog and also my Melanie Fabulous blog to show you the adorableness of these guest houses. But it's like a city retreat with a spa in Fredericksburg. So those are great. There's also a luxury option we didn't see, but the Waldorf Astoria is doing a lot now with these really luxury accommodations. And as I said, there's also other, like we saw at Hampton Inn, we saw a number of other places and several signs for little B&Bs. We actually didn't stay in town. We stayed about 4 miles out in what is considered a dark sky area, which is kind of cool. If you don't know what a dark sky is, it's where you can actually go out in the middle of the night and all you see are stars. There's no lights to interfere. It's really hard to do here in New Orleans. I've tried, haven't been able to do it, but boy, we could do it where we stayed, which is the Odonata Escape. Here's my notes here. The Odonata Escape is a relaxing retreat, about 4-mile drive outside of town. What's cool about this place, the couple that owns it, the Gilmores, they took shipping containers, just basic shipping containers, and turned them into sustainable accommodations. We had a little suite. It had a sitting area with a day bed, a big, comfortable king-size bed, a sizable bathroom, and a kitchenette, and a little porch. Each one is individually decorated and has a room theme. I particularly like the one called Lavender. Gee, I wonder why. It was all purple, but there was one called Serendipity. Ours was actually called Rosa, and it had a pink theme. Really cute place, and they offer like a beautiful area to make. We were actually given a kit to make homemade s'mores over the fire pit. There's nothing out there but you, nature, some big jackrabbits, and the stars. You really look at a field. So a great place if you want a romantic getaway or a family getaway that's not in town but can have peace and quiet. The other place we didn't stay, but some of the people on our trip did, was called the Honey Tree, the treehouse getaway. So if you're really into like interesting accommodations that are out of the norm and out of the way, you might like these hillside cabins that are rooted in nature. They all offer like the contemporary amenities you need, like, you know, a great bathroom, Wi-Fi, and a kitchenette, but they're just different. They're different in terms of their style, and they're very close to nature. So you can stay in town or, you know, outside of nature. There's many more. And again, as I said, the Visit Fredericksburg website has a lot. So Juan's mentioned her. Juan, do we have that video? Here, I'm just going to give you a quick look. It's really short, I hope. This is like flat, lots of grapes, beautiful vineyards, lots of wine to drink. We're going to talk about that, and beautiful settings. This is an area you can go hiking and a little further out. It's really, really beautiful. This is a place of natural beauty. So if you really don't want to be around skyscrapers, you won't see any. They have laws about how high buildings can be. So I loved Fredericksburg. I hope you will. Okay, that was a quick taste. Thank you, Juan. So where to dine? Because, you know, I'm all the food. I'm all about hiking, too. We didn't get to do much hiking. We only had 3 days. I'd like to go back and do some hiking and explore that Lyndon Baines Johnson Park because it looked gorgeous. But we did do some mighty fun eating and drinking, so I'm going to fill you in. Our first stop was breakfast and fresh brewed coffee at Dot's Bakery and Beer Garden. The beer garden wasn't working yet because this is a very new place that opened in May. I think we were like one of the top 100 customers, maybe the top 10 customers. But it's owned by I love this woman's name, Frances Money. I actually said, really? I said, I'd like to have a last name named Money, but mine's Young. That's okay, too. But hers is Money. Frances worked as a really successful bake. She's from Texas. She actually went to LSU. And she had a success as working in a bakery in London for several years while returning home. Her husband's also from Texas, Carl, and his business partner. He's a lawyer by profession, but he's also big in building out Dot's Bakery and Beer Garden, which has a huge, gorgeous garden in the back where they're building a distillery and serving craft beers. And they also own Pontotoc, which is like a Choctaw Indian name, because the Choctaws lived in this area. It's a winery near Fredericksburg. Really dynamic couple, and I wish them all the best. The place literally had just opened and is in the center of town. Our first evening stop, with 6 Twists. Now, this is a very cool sparkling wine bubbly bar that serves sparkling wines from around the world and grower champagnes, which means it's champagne made by the same vintner that grows the grapes and makes their champagne. So grower champagnes are kind of cultish in the wine world, and they're really special. So the owners are Melissa and Bobby Humphreys. They left the big city world of oil and gas and decided to settle in Fredericksburg, like many people do, because they love it so much and they want a slower pace of life and a better quality of life away from the skyscrapers of the big city and, of course, Texas's famous highways. I think they were from Houston, and I know what those highways are like in Houston. These are they're such a wonderful couple, the Humphreys. They welcomed us. They have a lot of different ways to enjoy 6 Twists, which is the name 6 Twists, by the way, is the number of twists it takes to open a bottle of champagne. Take the mucilette off and uncork champagne. We did their classic presentation, which I highly recommend, was a tasting of 3 sparkling wines. One was a very well-made Prosecco. Another was a Corpinat Cava, which is a high-end, very special cava. And the third was a grower champagne. It was actually Melissa's favorite, Paul de Thun, Cuvée Brut. It's a Grand Cru from Ambonnet. And they paired it with 3 different types of caviar they get from the California Caviar Company. It was terrific. And we had some potato chips, of course, because you got to have potato chips and champagne. It's a great pairing. They have other options as well, but this is a wonderful place to hang out, meet people, maybe for an aperitivo, before a dinner, or before going hear some live music. It's very popular. Again, it's called 6 Twists, and it's in town. We dined at the Well House. I mentioned that, the restaurant at the Albert. Highly recommended. Very great bar. Really great scene. But my all-time favorite restaurant, and remember, we were only there 3 nights. So we had lunch, dinner. You know what I mean? So Hill and Vine, awesome restaurant. The service was great. The portions are huge. The dishes are terrific. It serves what they call hill country cuisine. I asked people what that was. It's basically food made from locally sourced agricultural products. And then you've got, of course, amazing cattle and chickens that are farmed. And you get your seafood most likely from the Gulf Coast. A few things we had were brought in elsewhere. This place was amazing. I have to say that charcuterie and cheese board, you know how it was the biggest thing I'd ever seen. It could have served 8 people. It probably did. So we were like 10 people. It was alone a meal, the charcuterie board, and so shareable. Wonderful. It's called, again, Hill and Vine. Recommend it highly. Can't wait to go back and have it again. The other place you must go, it's kind of a destination for many reasons. It's called Das Peach House. Das Peach House. Remember, German. So it's a German family, I think, dating back to the original settlers. I think they're into their 5th generation now. We met with the whole family came out and welcomed us. So it's the Fisher and Weiser family, because this is home for the last 55 years to where Fisher and Weiser began making its large award-winning collection of specialty food, jams and jellies and sauces and condiments. If you ever if you've not heard of Fisher and Weiser, you do know now. And they're, everything's made in Texas. They test products there. They test products for other companies. It's a pretty big operation. And when you go to Das Peach House, you'll see their big sign. It's located literally off South US Highway 87. You'll see a big sign that says Das, D-A-S, Peach Haus, like German, H-A-U-S. You go in and it's like Taste Central. You can taste all their products and, of course, buy them. Oh, all those free tastes. We got there a little later because we were invited to a special cooking presentation and dinner with wines that the Fisher and Weiser family also produced. You can do that yourself. I mean, we were there on a press trip, but you can schedule by appointment a cooking demonstration, maybe for a small group or 2 people, where you can have the chef teach a cooking class, and then you, of course, eat the food. And it was really, really good, really good. And a lot of it was using local products. Of course, you will have peaches, and their peach jam, their peach jalapeno salsa is awesome. Just fabulous. You will not leave empty-handed when you go to Das Peach House. You will leave full and not empty-handed. And the best part is it's on this incredible location on a lake surrounded by a pine forest. So there's like cornhole to play and Adirondack chairs to sit in. And you can even rent an Airstream trailer or a small house to stay in. So they do have a few on-site accommodations. It's family friendly and really beautiful. Right next door is an adult-only distillery that Dietz Fisher, the son of one of the family owners, I think he's in his 20s, maybe early 30s. He decided he wanted to strike out and do something different than just do specialty foods. And he decided to go get his distilling degree in Scotland and create a distillery. He, being that they come from German background, he wanted to do eau de vie or fruit brandies because this is orchard central for great fruit. He also apprenticed with an eau de vie producer, distiller in Austria, learned the craft, and comes back and he makes beautiful eau de vies, great gifts, like peach, plum, really amazing. But he also has a terrific London dry gin called Five Judges. It's named after the 5 judges who once lived on the property that was their home, that now is where the home to the distillery is. It's really great patio, beautiful vista of the lake, and it's right next door to Das Peach House. You can make this like a whole evening or afternoon if you want, just doing Das Peach House. But it was our last stop on the trip and so much fun. The family is so nice. It was so interesting to learn, how they got started. And, we learned that all along the way. So those are just a few places. David and I also stopped, of course, to have a beer. We took some time when we had some downtime to stroll through town and do some shopping. Again, we didn't really spend any money, but we did get a great beer at one of the oldest breweries in the United States, because when you go to Fredericksburg, you need to have a beer. It's a German heritage, right? You have to have a great beer. There's lots of little beer halls around. Also, some of the Texas wineries have tasting rooms in town, urban tasting rooms, what they're called. So you can taste wines without actually leaving town. Really great. And ubiquitous amounts of coffee and ice cream, and of course, margaritas, because we're in Texas. Of course, this was for us, the people who organized it. Thank you, Geiger PR. They organized for David and me to also go to some wineries, because that's what we do. We drink a lot of wine and tell you about it. So let me just tell you about Texas wines. Texas is, as I said, a very major wine producing state. I think it's 4. I'm pretty sure it's either 4 or 5 in the United States. And the Texas AVA has like 7 or 8 AVAs, agricultural viticultural areas. And the high country, where Fredericksburg is the largest. So you're going to get myriad types of wineries. I was actually surprised at how many wineries there were and how many wine tours are offered to tourists. So you don't need to drive, just get a tour, sit back and enjoy the ride and taste some great wines. So what are you going to be tasting? Interestingly, it's hot. You're in the plains. You're in alluvial river valley, because the Pedernales River is right there. So it's really actually a great grape growing area. Those are some good conditions. Poor soil means the vines have to struggle to get more water. Only in wine can you be poor and struggle, and it's a good thing. So a lot of the wines tend to be made with varieties from the Rhone Valley: Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, Roussanne, Viognier, southern Italy like Aglianico, and Spain. Lots of Tempranillo, and Portugal. So Touriga Nacional. Lots of grapes in that area. Being a meat country, you're going to find probably some, cattle country. You're going to find some awesome red wines. I think the red wines were stronger than white, but I had some pretty good Vermentinos, which is an Italian and French grape, and a Viognier that I liked. And even I had a pretty good Sauvignon Blanc. They're doing a lot there. And at one winery, we had some amazing sparkling. So I'm going to tell you where we went. Again, our trip was organized, but you can have a wine tour customized for you as well, based on what you like. And I would highly recommend it. So we went to, my absolute go winery. Okay. Why? It's woman owned, like Dot's Bakery, woman owned, support women owned businesses. Meyerson Vineyard is a woman owned, awesome winery, and it's beautiful. The owner is Crystal Patel. She's like straight out of like gorgeous. She's a long, tall, beautiful Texas drink of water, and so nice. She grew up on this beautiful ranch. She's an only child like me. She took us on the tour. She was in financial technology and just said, I'm done. She came back to the ranch, did a lot of work, a lot of research, taught herself how to make wine. She is self-taught and she makes beautiful wines. I'm not going to go into the details of what we tasted, other than the fact that every single one of them was stunning. I particularly liked her rosé. I just loved it. But if I had brought back wines, they would have been Mayorstone's wines. It's Meierstone, Mayorstone Vineyards. They've got a really good wine club. When we were there, one of the group of wine club members were celebrating a birthday. They've won several awards. You'll see a big saddle. When you win Best of Texas, you get a saddle. Every single wine was perfect. It just really impressed me about the quality of Texas wines. The second I would recommend is Pedernales Cellars. It's one of Texas's most established and respected wineries. The owners are actually from, I think, Denmark or Sweden, but they lived in California. They also left corporate world and moved to Texas because they loved it. And they've been coming to this area for a long time. The winery is stunning. It's located on a plateau, like so high up. Remember, this is hill country, so there are hills and valleys, and there's a river valley. You can see over the Pedernales River. Off in the distance, there's a huge patio. We had a great tasting experience here. Some of the nicest tasting room people. What I learned, a number of the people we met in tasting rooms, it's like their second career or their retirement career. Literally, and I thought to myself, maybe I could do that. So we had I don't remember her name, but she was so enthusiastic about talking about the story of Pedernales and serving the wines, and it was her retirement career, and she just loved it. The hospitality was amazing. This winery has amazing red wines. I think the red wines were their strength, with the Tempranillos being standout. Tempranillo is a Spanish grape. It's grown all over Spain. It really does well here in Texas. So, man, really terrific. The next one we stopped at was, if you want to try what you call smaller indie wineries, the Texas Wine Collective is a great stop. It appears to be popular on the Texas wine tour route because we saw a few wine vans there with people at different areas tasting. We tasted wines from 3 different smaller producers. Again, I can't go into details because I don't have my notes here. But it was really nice. It was really pleasant. It's fun to see what smaller wineries are doing, because it doesn't have to be big. We did pass a lot of very big wineries that look like a lot of major money sunk into them. Probably will go back and check those out, but I liked who we saw and who we met with. Another winery, Heath Family Brands. They're actually a bigger company. They have a winery in Paso Robles. They also have the K Estate, which is a wine club that you can join. All these wineries have wine clubs. What am I talking about? But this one's more of a wine/club, like private club, kind of like what Six Twists does also with their club, but you can still go. But here they have a wine club and a gorgeous tasting room, so you can go taste, but they also have a really fantastic restaurant only open to club members that overlooks this huge patio in the vineyards. We, being there on a press trip, got to go have lunch there. It was really terrific. And we're joining the club because you get great deals on the wines. I particularly like the sparkling wine. I think it was a sparkling Chenin Blanc. It was really terrific. Again, nice wines. For KSA, I actually thought the whites were stronger than the reds. The great thing about Texas is you can get the full range: white, rosé, red, and sparkling. And there's enough made with different types of grape varieties to suit your taste and palate. Another winery, but much more, I mentioned earlier, is Wild Seed Farm. Okay, this place is like epic, and you need to have it on your schedule. It is the largest wildflower farm in the United States. It supplies many other companies. The founder is just adorable. I just could have hugged him, John. I think his last name is Thomas. We took the tour. The wildflowers weren't as lush and plush. They were like this, actually. That's one of my photos behind me, but they're beautiful. It's a great place to take kids. There's a gift shop. You could just stay there forever, but they also have a great tasting room where you can try their wines, because they have this huge, as you see in the back of the photo, there's vineyards, because they're also a grower. A grower means they grow grapes and they supply them to other wineries, like Mayorstone actually buys grapes from Wild Seed. But they're also a producer. Remember earlier in the show, I talked about how Six Twists does a lot with grower champagnes. Well, a grower isn't a grower producer, is a grower producer. So Wild Seed makes terrific wines. We tasted, we didn't have a lot of time to taste them all. The one that I wanted to taste, we didn't get to, was Aglianico, which won like an award in Texas. But the Tempranillo was terrific. I think we tasted a blend with Cabernet Franc and Cab Sauv and Tempranillo. Terrific. They make a couple of blends there. Really, if you like those firm red wines with great tannins, you're going to love these wines. So they also make wines, as does Das Peach House. Kind of interesting, right? But you didn't think there was so much wine there. Another thing we did, probably could have been a better timing, was we visited some peach farms. Texas is a big producer of peaches and other agricultural products, including wonderful fresh berries, but it was supposedly peach season. However, we know Mother Nature likes to do things on her time. So the peach season was running a little late. However, if you go in the summer, do stop by and support these farmers. They have beautiful tasting rooms and hospitality options for you. 3 we visited, and I'll mention Jenske Orchards, big orchard. They also have corn and mazes, 20 different varieties of peaches, 20 different varieties of peaches. Okay, how many have you had? I've had maybe 3. I grew up in Georgia, so most of them. 7 generations of Jenskes have been working this farm. They also have a little tiny B&B. Maybe you could sleep 1 or 2 people on property. There's a barbecue pits place next door. Fun place to take kids and roam around. And there's a great gift shop where you can taste and purchase more peach jam, salsas, jellies, and fresh fruits and vegetables because it's a farm. The next one, I love this place, Vogel Orchards, another family-owned farm since 1953. They're trying to do something about climate change because, you know, the peach season was going to be the peach harvest was going to be smaller due to hail, which is like hail is the hell for people in agriculture. It really damages crops. So be a smaller but good peach season, but smaller. But the owners, the Vogel family, is also doing research to grow different types of berries. They're working with Texas A&M to see what they can do to help provide alternative growing options. If one crop is not doing great, they can do another. I bet right now it's June. The peaches are awesome. We did get a great peach cobbler when we went to Vogel, and it was, I think, his grandmother's recipe, and we had it with peach ice cream. So I was feeling pretty peachy, which is why I'm wearing this shirt. Another cool place. I think I tried every sample in the store. Is Burke's Corner. 3 generations strong. A great shop to buy not only jams, jellies, a kind of interesting peach wine. It was pretty nice, kind of like a Moscato, which is about right. Moscato has peach qualities to it. And other locally made products from pastas to jerky. Kind of a cool place, honey. And a lot of people were lining up for the fresh peach ice cream. I should have, would have, could have got that because by the time I finished, I had said, man, I've had everything but peach ice cream. Well, I did have it at Vogel Orchards with my cobbler. But it was pretty awesome. And frankly, I didn't know that peaches were such a big deal in Texas because I grew up in Georgia. And for me, it was all about Georgia peaches. So there you go. A couple of other things. So what do you do in town? I've already talked about shopping, drinking, eating, more shopping. But you got to embrace the history because this is so cool. When I go traveling, and I urge everybody to do this, when you land somewhere you've never been, the first thing I like to do is I like to go visit the tourist office, the local tourist office, and actually talk to the people there and ask them, what are things I should not miss? What are things that are really great for my personal interest? We did that at the Visit Fredericksburg Tourism Office, which has a really great short film. I also like to learn about the history and provenance of town, particularly when I hear that it has a really interesting heritage, like Fredericksburg, which is the German heritage. There is a film, it's very short. It's actually incredibly informative. At the Visit Fredericksburg Tourism Office, it tells you the history and struggle that these German immigrants faced. I mean, basically some nobility, a group of noblemen in Germany negotiated a land grant in this part of South Central Texas with the Choctaw Indians. It was one of the first ever doing business with the Choctaws and the Germans. They bought it, but they didn't buy the greatest location. They didn't know that at the time because it was Texas and they didn't know, and there was no Google. Remember, it was back in another century. The immigrants all came over. Many people said we want to leave to find better land, but they didn't realize that when the boat landed, they were going to be in the Gulf Coast because Texas is big, and the boat landed in the Gulf Coast. So what were they met with? Heat, humidity, mosquitoes, and other bugs. What the nobility didn't figure out, while they could figure out how to negotiate a deal with the Choctaws, what they hadn't figured out is how to get the immigrants from the muggy, hot Gulf Coast. And remember, Germans are not used to muggy and hot. They're used to German weather and alpine weather and cooler weather. How to get these immigrants who were struggling and suffering in the heat up through Texas to the land that had been contracted. So it took another man, a priest, who came over, and he actually ended up finding a settlement that would work, and he helped the Germans navigate by foot and maybe by horse to get up there. Texas is big. I can only imagine how hard it was. So I have great respect for the people who settled there and their the ancestors of the many of the people we meet. But this is all told in the film. It was really interesting. Another thing you should do is I like to visit the local history museum that tells the heritage of a place. The Pioneer Museum does just that. It's a walkable outdoor museum with structures that show how people lived back in the 1800s. You'll find a cabin. You'll find the home of a wealthy person, the home of a simple person. You'll find a general store, a church, and you'll find something that's an architectural specific item, a piece of architecture unique to Fredericksburg, which is called a Sunday house. A Sunday house is a small house, think about like the tiny house or cabin, that was a two-story structure that farmers would use when they came into Fredericksburg for the weekend to buy supplies and attend church services. Thus the term Sunday house. What's unique about Sunday houses is they're two stories, and the stories are connected by an outdoor staircase. Right, the outdoor staircase takes you from the working quarters or the meeting quarters to the sleeping quarters upstairs. And then there's a lean-to kitchen in the back. There's several preserved Sunday houses in and around Fredericksburg. And at the Pioneer Museum, you'll see one called the Weber Sunday House. But that's just one of those unique things about Fredericksburg, Pioneer Museum. Something I didn't know, I do know now. When I landed in San Antonio, you'll see it's, the home of, the military, a military city, and you feel that pride for the military throughout Texas, but especially when you land in San Antonio and also when you are in Fredericksburg. It's very important. The National Museum of the Pacific War is a very large museum and Smithsonian affiliate spread over 3 galleries, 6 acres, 55,000 square feet of exhibit space that tells the story of World War II. Now, we have the World War II Museum here in New Orleans. I think it's bigger, the biggest in the country, but I would say the National Museum of the Pacific War is also up there in the ranking of size matters. We didn't get to go to it because we were busy tasting wine. We did visit the Pioneer Museum and the Visitor Center. Part of the group, the non-wine drinkers, got to go to the National Museum of the Pacific War. But if you were a history buff, or you're going with family who are history buffs, or kids who you want to teach, this is a great museum. I did learn that the connection is deeper than just the museum. Fredericksburg was the birthplace of William Nimitz, who served as the commander-in-chief, fleet admiral in the U.S. Navy over several forces in World War II. He is a local hero. You will see tributes to him throughout downtown and a statue. And there's an organization called the NimitzFoundation.org. I think there's also a submarine called the Nimitz now. So big hero, a lot of pride in, serving the United States. You're going to see a lot of civic pride. You'll see a lot of positive national pride. It is a place that is welcoming to all. And I think that's nice. Other things that I would recommend doing is go hear some live music and really do some line dancing because you're in Texas. I'm taking line dancing lessons now, believe it or not. And I think it's awesome. Down the road in 2027, we did a hard hat tour, fun, of a huge shopping complex called the Muse. And there will be a Kimpton hotel and a lot of boutique retail shops, all Texas, nothing like Big Lot or anything like that. Nothing, big brands, going to be all Texas. That's going to open 2027 and will be really stunning, a great place to stay, but also big for, again, this is a big wedding destination. So if you're planning a wedding or an anniversary or a reunion, this is a great spot. There's something to do. Everybody will have a good time. And there's plenty of facilities for it. That's 2027. I hope to be back in 2027 too. There was a list of things I'd like to have done if I had more time, like go to some of the natural resources outside of town that I actually saw, I saw, I think it was a rhino rescue. Am I losing my mind? There was something there that looked really interesting with wild animals rescue and hiking, because I like to hike. And I think it's probably a great biking area as well. But I'll go back. It was pretty easy to get there. I don't know what it's like to get there from Dallas, but we did San Antonio, which, by the way, is another town I want to visit. Oh, last but not least, more information. I think I covered everything in here, but we did. And I think we did a lot for 3 days. I do want to remind you that we did a lot for 3 days, but I don't want you to pack it in. I'm a big believer when I'm not on press trips that you take it easy and take it slow. The Italians love la dolce vita. They like to savor life and take it slow. They'll sit and linger over coffee. They'll sit and linger over an aperitivo. If you travel, when you travel, and if you visit Fredericksburg, which I hope you do, or anywhere you go, take time to sit in a cafe, have your morning coffee and some local amazing bread or pastry, having the aperitivo, which is that special hour between 4 and 7, where you have the spritz or spritz or glass of wine or champagne, or at 6 twists, maybe you can have some champagne and caviar. But linger and savor the moment. Don't rush. I see people planning travel itineraries and they share them online, and it's like they don't have time to breathe. You don't need to rush it. And to that point, I want to thank the folks who invited us and organized our trip. Visit FredericksburgTX.com, visit Fredericksburg, Texas, and Geiger PR. It was a great trip. It was fun. I got a lot out of it. And I found a place near Louisiana that's kind of a great hop, skip, and a jump away I want to visit. I'll keep traveling. I'll keep sharing with you because I want you to explore the world. You only have one life. You can either hang out and spend it at home and put everything on your wish list, or you can take action and put it on your to-do list, or you can say, I'm getting up and getting out on the road list. I'm that last person. You can't die with regret. You got to die happy, and you don't know when that day will be. So live every moment to the fullest. Because as I wrap up the show, I like to say, you only have one life, and you deserve to live it on your terms. Make confident choices that you believe in. Take your time to do that. Listen to people, talk to people, listen to experts, but follow your gut and your heart. And always choose fearless and fabulous when you choose to live life on your terms. Thank you. I'm Melanie Young. Follow me on Melanie Fabulous. Check out my Substack, Melanie Fabulous, and check out my other show, The Connected Table Live with David Ransom. And until next time, stay fearless and fabulous. Thank you.